All right, going to do a speed run of a NASCAR 2 paint job. I've done about, 15 minutes of prep work here, tracking everything we need for the Harry Gant skull machine. So the first thing we want is to get that green. And it's pretty much the whole thing except for the roof. We don't have to worry about the back and the sides. This front pillar and this here, we edit that in-game in like an underbody editor. But this back pillar and everything Harry Gant up here, that's all part of the roof. You'll see what I mean. But we got to make this back pillar white and this driver pillar white right here. So I'm going to be slinging and singing. So the roof, we're going to make this white. I'm using this as a base. This is the palette for NASCAR Racing 2. And I found this white right here, the third from the left in my palette. Gives me some room to make it brighter, whatever. So you see all this shading. This is my color by number system here, where I could change this. I guess this isn't a speed run because it's like a tutorial kind of. But you can see I can change that color. But the good news is I've painted a lot of cars so far. And I already have the roof highlights for white done. So I'm just going to bring that over here. I always use Loy Allen's car as my white. There you go. Get rid of the roof. And that's going to be, that's the roof. So, next up, and we're actually going to go back into Loy Allen's thing here in a minute. I shouldn't have closed that. But now we need the front, the rear, and the body are all this like forest green. So we got to find this forest green here. It's one of these two. It's not that dark. It's one of these two. And I've been tending to go brighter, I've noticed, in my painting. I mean, in this color, this is from CC48. He's a goat in the NASCAR racing video game NR 2003 community painting. I mean, he's like I said, he's elite. So it's one of these two. And I mean, I got to make a decision here. And I've been tending to go brighter with all of my schemes. Just that's how my eye tends to go. But we have a lot of lead up for green up here, which we're going to have to color the rest of the body of the car up. I don't know, man. Oh God, it's darker. I think it's darker. Son of a bitch. Never mind. Just cancel this whole thing. I know. I don't know. Or maybe it's this over here. Damn it. Let's go with the brighter, man. I always tend to go brighter. It's just too dark, I think. Let's go dark. Okay. So, now you see my color by number system. I go -1, which is one darker than the green I picked. And that color, that affects this body line down here, which I'll talk about. Because we're going to have to draw the body lines on the 33. You'll see what I mean. Nope. We're going brighter. There we go. So now we start getting nuts. I go +1 from the base color. You can see it changed the body line. It's starting to get brighter up the car now. +2 is 2 from the base. This isn't an exact science. 3 is, you guessed it. I know this seems tedious because it is, but then it's the most tedious part. Or you can always just eyeball it, but I have this system that works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this one's just going to affect that little part above the number on the side. So there you go. Looking back, you can see, hey man, that doesn't look bad. So that part's done. That's the sides. But now that we're coloring green and we're in the green mood, let's keep it going. We're coloring the front there where the lumina is. And my system here is a -2. And this is something I still eyeball. -2 kind of gives the, a shadow of the front of the car and stuff. And then we go +1. +2. And I have +5 here, but I've realized it's too much. Maybe +4. Even that's too bright. Still got to eyeball things here. So maybe like that. See, even that dark green's a little too dark. Something like that. So, okay. Then we'll do the rear, which is the same deal. -1, because that's going to be the shading of the spoiler. -2 is, this is the first thing I got to check out here with the car. If it's a black spoiler or what. Yeah, it's a black spoiler. And then I usually confirm that with this CC48 to make sure he was seeing the same thing I was. So that's a black spoiler. If this wasn't a black spoiler, say it was a green spoiler, I would turn off my spoiler brace up here I have. And you see this gray right here? That's what this -2 is. And I would make it darker than the green I have. Or I would have to make it like that because it's already in the shade. And so you can see like it has like the outline of where the spoiler brace would be, but it's the same color as the body, But since we have a black spoiler brace, I'm just going to turn that back on. And then we color the spoiler in game. And then the green shading down here. You can see it getting a little bit brighter there. And I've been tending to not do 3 of these. I'm just going to copy this, paste it to that one. So it's just a little bit brighter. Or is the back white? I don't think the back is white. No. And I know. Okay, here we go. So the base color of the car is done, but now we got to do all this white stuff. Which I think everything's pixel by pixel here. So I'm going to do white there. Bring this up. Make sure this lines up pretty much right on the money there. So that's good, but hey, we lost the shading, But not really. So we're going to bring this white down, and you see the shading right now is green. But I have a fix for that. We got to go find Loy Allen's car again. Go to his highlights and shading, grab his sides, because that's my shorthand for everything on the side. And so now that looks bad, but I'm bringing this up, masking this, and this should just, yeah. So there you go. And you can see, like, I'm going to zoom out some, and there's some, like, this just, it's shading. Like, it's not going to look perfect. This probably could be a little bit brighter, but that's shading on the pillar, but whatever. All these jagged lines here, those will disappear. I mean, they're already disappearing there. And they're totally gone when it's actually how it's going to look in game. So that's done. The base of the car is done. And then the next thing I do is the number. I want to get the number. So here's the number. 33. I grabbed this from, I'm going to start closing some tabs here. This is from Big Evil Racing. I'm going to close that tab. Save some memory. So now, yeah, highlights of the car are just done. So 33, huge, massive, but I have a shorthand of, it's about 32 height pixels on the number on the side. That gives me a good baseline anyway. And I always just change it around. And you can't follow this to a T. Like usually I'd be like, okay, that's about a third of the way in on the window, and the 3 extends all the way to the end of the driver pillar over here, which would mean this would have to go all the way over here. That's just not going to happen. But I do want to worry about the height of them, because we have to fit some, we have to fit that white. I should actually do the white and black, runner strip thing there. Whatever that's called, folks. So I'm going to do that now. But because I brought this white in, we want to match this white. You can see how I got it a little bit darker, and then we're going to match this black to my go-to black, which is 1 brighter than the absolute pitch black in game. And those 21s on here, these are basically my kind of like a guide, I suppose, of where the numbers go roughly. This 21 is pretty much the maximum width it can be in game before it starts getting chopped off. And the height, I just eyeball it sometimes. So, I mean, that is a wide 33. But, and the contingency decals, I'm not really worrying about those. Every car has a different little set. Are you nuts? I'm not going to do that. So the Chevys have their own looking set. Fords have a different kind of set. And I still have to make the Pontiacs. They'll have their own different set as well. And I tell you what we forgot to do, now that I'm looking at it, on the sides. Or no, we haven't even messed with it yet. The roof over here. We got to do this. We'll do this. We'll do the hood, or the hood. We'll do the hood when we get there. So 33, and that was white. Now I'm worried about if this is. We can actually get rid of this guide now. That's too big. The number's just too big. Is it? Oh, let's just keep it big. So that's done. Let's go grab the skull, and I already have the skull from the Rick Mass car I made. Do I need anything else from this skull? Because I'm looking here. I'm looking at the other logos we need. We need a Bowman. We need whatever that red one is. Crane Cams and Craftsman. And we actually can grab that, and that here. Close that down. We don't need the number anymore. And there we go. And then while we're here, oh man, we got it. We're going to do the skull, and then we're going to move over to the get that base, that white down at the bottom. So that's white, and it looks like there's black outline. I can't really tell. We're going to go with a black outline here. Outline here. Black. There we go. And you can see how the skull and the 33 look so tight together now, but that's how it is on the car. And that skull is actually thicker on the car. But okay, so that's actually lining up pretty good. That skull is real close. We're avoiding the gas tank here, which isn't an exact placement, but whatever. And the old timer up here, we're going to put probably down here on this quarter panel. This doesn't have anything on the quarter panel in any of the shots, which is nice. I like not dealing with the quarter panel problem here in the game. But putting anything on this back pillar, it just looks so distorted and silly. So if it's like an iconic or just a recognizable sponsor that they put there, I'll try to find another place to put it on the car. And it doesn't look like there's anything on that front white. I think this might be I don't know what that is. But then I'll check what he did here, and there's nothing. So let's do the base, or the base board or whatever here. And this is just an eyeball situation too. eyeballing what this should look like. Sure. Because we got to fit all those logos down there, and I mean, if we're getting real, we might have to scrunch. See, we might have to scrunch this up, and that changes the aspect ratio of it. But then bring us up one. And then crane cams is black. Whoa. Nope, crane cams is black. And make it a little bit smaller. Craftsman is this, and looks like it has like a red outline, which you'll see. Don't lose. I don't want to lose my mind doing this because these get so distorted by the end. Plus, we're going to put a shading on this. It's not going to be that dark, but it gets to the point where just don't lose your mind. So we need the Bowman, and that red one here, I'm not sure what it is. A veteran of 90s paint jobs would know what that is, and I should know what it is, but I don't. And you can see CC48 was like, yeah, I don't know what that is. But this one doesn't even have it. So good. Then we'll get away. Then I can sleep at night knowing, hey, I didn't cut any corners. I found a paint scheme that didn't have it, so we're good. We need that Bowman one, and that Bowman one's used a lot. And you think it'd be simple for me to go just in a folder I have and find it, but I do it this complicated way. So there's our Bowman, and we're going to put that there. Make that a touch bigger, I suppose. And there we go. We're done. And then Mannheim Auctions. We need that Mannheim Auctions thing to go here, which was what? Yellow. And I've already found that right here on this eBay listing by Jim Heller. So shout out to Jim Heller. And I'm going to zoom in on that. Screenshot it. And open up my equivalent of Photoshop. And grab that. Let's see how well this grabs it. Always tricky to find any white that's still hanging out in there. So we're going to lasso this. Grab that. Bring it in here. It's going to be huge. There you go. Ooh. Depends on how big we want to make this. I'd say make it a little bit big because these are paint schemes, but they're also like caricatures of paint schemes. In a way, if you know what I mean. So this color overlay, we want this to be a yellow kind of thing. And that's actually that's a bright yellow. So that's good. I think we nailed it on the first try there. So we have that done. I'd say that's good. We can probably put some jack tape here. Uh-oh. I don't like that spinning wheel. Too many things are open right now. So next up is the old timer thing from the side. We're gonna put that on the bottom right, and I think this is it. It has that like old timey Western font to it, so we don't need that tab anymore. And we're gonna take this in here, and this was a vector file, and I could easily just go download the actual vector file and not have to erase and do all this I'm doing now. But what are you not erasing over here? There you go. We'll just grab it like this. And this is old timer. And we'll make it white. And shrink her up. And again, that should be black and going diagonal up here, but that looks like poop. So we're just going to put that right there. So the side of the car is done, right? I did not forget anything. Yeah, side of the car is done. Done. So when I flip it to the other side, the first thing I'm going to do is try to find a guide over here of where to exactly line it up over there whenever I flip it. And there's nothing really lining up with any lines. Like this 33, for example, I'll move it up one. So it's basically, and I can actually nail this. The bottom of the 3 goes 2.2 pixels into the body line there. You'll see what I mean. So, I'm going to grab everything I think is over here. I'm going to disappear them. And yeah, that's everything I need to move up top. So I'm going to copy, bring them all up. And then we got to bring the tip of that 3 2.2 pixels into that body line. 0.2 right there. So that should be a perfect match. And we're going to start flipping everything. I wish there was a way. There might be something in the settings where it's like, hey, flip all these things, but keep them in their place or whatever. It'd be nice just to grab everything and flip them all, and they independently flip. But instead, I got to grab them one by one. You see how there's highlighting back here, but then the top of the 3 and like skull isn't highlighted? We'll be doing that by hand later. And it's not that bad. Plus, when I'm doing that, I realize I'm in the home stretch. And it feels nice to put the finishing touches on a car. So, that's where we're at now. And, I mean, the sides are done. The sides are done. The top is a green 33, so let's just throw that up here while we're here. And I don't want to have to turn these number guides off again. So I'm going to take care of all the other numbers right now as well. This green, I can just eyedrop it because I know it's the green from the palette. And these numbers, these roof numbers get bastardized a little bit. You got to squeeze them, but in game they get stretched out. So you kind of do this blind. Again, it's not exact. I said that's the exact width, but you have some breathing room there. But now we're gonna have to deal. We're gonna have to. Okay, we're gonna go grab the back of the car right now. This workflow is different every time. Depends on what I'm doing. But I have a checklist also, and you'll see what I mean. That it guarantees that I do not miss a step. So over here, I just know I just know exactly where this should go. 35.3, and it's a 4.5 height, and yeah, it should line up with where that top is. You'll see what I mean, because this is weird. The front of the car gets cut off, and I really want those numbers to show, but they're just so small in game anyway. So we can turn those number guides off. So here we go. So now we want to go find the back of the car. The back of the car by CC48 was skull and had a bandit there, and I guarantee there was a reason he put it there. But looking at this, that doesn't have the bandit there, and we don't know where that's at. So then I have another system that's like, man, how am I going to get a good look at this car? So what I have is the 1994 standings here. And what I'll do is I'll go find Harry Gant in the standings, and I'll find a race where he wrecked, which was Richmond. And he cautioned 3 laps into the race. So I have 1994 Harry Gant, and I'll also just search them, Harry Gant. I'll just search them in YouTube, see if there's like a vignette they made See, here's a NASCAR profile of him, and we can maybe get just fast forwarding through this, trying to get a good look at his. If this is 1994, there's no. I don't have the audio up. This isn't 1994. This is 1992, right? Because of the 94 Sunoco, which would be Terry Labonte, unless there was a 94 Sunoco in 94, which would make sense. I don't know. But I'm not. I don't know. No. I don't know. I don't have the audio up. Whatever. But we'll go find the 1994 Pontiac Excitement 400. Here we go. And we need, there's a starting grid, and we need 3 laps into this. Come out. We need 3 laps into it. There he is. Okay, cool. Let's see. I don't see Bandit on the back. Imagine me needing how the right side of the car to look here and just being like, well, Dick Trickle. That's a car I got to paint. So there's the Skull Bandit in all its glory. I already have that. See, when I'm going through these, I'm looking at other cars that I have painted or will paint, and I'm like, oh man, I didn't see the back of that car. And I'm kind of making mental notes. So that gave us a good. And see, now I forget. Did he have the Bandit on the back? So, hang on. I'm with you. Hang on. No Bandit on the back. I don't know what this 0.4% whatever is. But then, I mean, right now, this is the big time sink. Bristol's going to be a nightmare to find that exactly. Dover. Let's see if that was a easy wreck to find in Dover. Okay, there he is again. Lap 16, 1994 Budweiser. But yeah, in my experience, finding those Bristol wrecks, it's like, no thanks, brother. So there's the grid, lap 16. Oh, I see him already in the thumbnail, whatever. I don't think I see Bandit back there. Okay, good. Oh, that's coming back from commercial. We had a wreck during the commercial, folks. There we go. That was the back of the car, wasn't it? Yes, it was. Oh, and YouTube sometimes doesn't. The space bar doesn't want to work sometimes. Yeah. No Bandit on the back. Let's get out of that whole world. So we just need the skull back here. I guarantee there was a reason they put that Bandit back there, but we don't have to. That's an extra step. Plus, that would really squeeze everything up back here. So we're going to have to highlight this stuff too. Some of this bottom's going to be brighter. We're going to have to darken all the stuff that's in that quote-unquote spoiler shade up here at the top. And this isn't an exact science here. Just kind of eyeballing where that should go. Or if it looks cool. Sometimes I'll just stretch it out for no reason. So we'll do that. The 33 might be a little bit too big. Whatever, man. So that's done. Let's move the white to the front of the car. And I kind of eyeball it here, exactly how far up the car it should go. Which none of this is accurate. It should go to the bottom of the grill, kind of. But I don't know, man. It's kind of like you just get the idea. I'm not dealing with valences and stuff because it eats up real estate on the car. It's just not. It's not a huge stage canvas to work with here. So that's done. That's done. Now we'll do the hood. I mean, we're in the home stretch, believe it or not. Let's do the hood. And the hood has the same color system, where we're actually gonna hit up that real dark green, because we need this lighter shade of green here, and then we go +1 here, +2, and then these are only going to affect those shadings by the Goodyears, which Harry Gant, is that going to be Hoosier actually? So you can see that shading is affected a little bit, and then this is another kind of eyeball situation. Do I want 3, 2, 3, or do I want 4 here? That's a little too much. We'll go with 3. Yeah, that's classy right there. So while I'm here, this red is sticking out, but we can't deal with that red yet because we need the hood, which is skull, the bandit logo, or the skull guy, I guess the bandit, skull, and then bandit font, which I already have. I mean, you can track these down however, but I made haulers for NR 2003, and I knew everything was in here. So we need bandit. Is this a pixel? No, it's a group. Okay, good. So we need the bandit fella, and we need the skull logo here. So I'm going to spin this. And that guy's pretty big. And you know what sucks is this is all colorized here, this skull guy. And it's a pixel, which means I'm going to have to actually use a paint bucket here. Let me think. We're actually going to leave that as is. And why is this color in whenever I do this? It does that sometimes, and I'm not really sure why it does it. I think it has to be rasterized. I won't get into it. And you can see how shitty that gets. But now when I hit this, it won't colorize. So it has something to do with this restoration flim flam, which again, it seems like I know what I'm doing here, and I'm like a whiz, but I'm not. I just know like turd ways to do things. So that shouldn't be doing that. So what I'm going to do is, I know a way around that. Whenever that's annoying, I'll make it a ping file. Oh, damn it. That's right. You bring it in and it does that. Hang on, folks. You can't defeat me. That's probably why. This probably has something to do with the problem we're having. The fact that you can make it this big. Yes, overwrite that. And we're going to bring this in here. And now we can, pretty sure we'll be able to, bring this in here and be able to color it with the paint booth or whatever. So let's grab our green. Yeah, I don't know why that does that. So we're coloring our black, and then we need a good hot red, which is going to be red. And then what I've learned is you would think it'd be in these reds, but I've learned that this orange right here is like a good, it got a little bit darker here, but that red was bright as hell. And that black there, the eyebrows and everything, we should probably change those too. It wouldn't make a huge difference if I forgot to do this. And then did I do the white yet? No. So there's the white. And we'll go in and grab the skull on the white. And while we're here, we got to grab the green that I forgot to grab there. And we got to grab this white again for that. So that looks good. Okay. Did I grab that one too? I guess. Yeah, you can see that white was like, man, that's a dark white, but it ends up working out pretty well. So this bandit, we're going to get rid of those two. What do you call? And you can see it's already tight with the Chevy logo here. Chevy logo is dead center, so I got to eyeball that for that to be here. But this is tight real estate. We got to bring this guy up. Probably just cover up that cow. And that'll be that'll be a touch-up city here. We're going to have to touch this up. God, that's not a lot of room here. What are you doing to me? I think Bandit's just way too big. Let's see, Bandit's a little bit wide. It's wider than the Chevy logo, which again, this isn't an exact frame of reference here. So I'm gonna cheat a little bit and make it wider, change the aspect ratio of it a little bit. Don't tell anybody. But now we got to bring the skull in here and somehow fit that into this as well. And skull is pretty prominent. That should be centered. Yeah, look at the up and bottom, the top and bottom of the hood, like up here and up here. There's a little more real estate to the bottom, so I'm going to move that up. That was a little bit off center. So, I mean, is the skull that big? It is. The skull is that huge across the board. And, I mean, let's face it, this Skull Bandit is not that big on the car. That's basically where we're at now. And now, looking at it, we're right. The skull, the beard, or whatever, the bandana goes down into the logo. That's a whole thing. So let's try to mimic that. So I got to bring that above the skull. There you go. And we're going to scrunch this just a little bit. There you go. I'll be here for 20 years if we mess with that. So now we do the manufacturer stuff on the front, which is Lumina is white, and that red will match to the bandit color, which I can just eye drop it. I don't have to worry about going into the palette. And it changed a little bit there, so that's good. So, hey man, home stretch now. Or no, we're pretty much done. But I'll tell you how I know we're pretty much done, or whether or not we're done. Because I have a checklist here. And a bunch of this is shorthand stuff. Side highlights, we haven't done that yet. Front highlights, everything looks good on the front. We don't have to mess with anything on the front, so that's done. Hood highlights. Those are done, but we do still have to mess with the hood in another area. And we won't have to do too much. You'll see what I mean. Rear highlights, we haven't done that yet. Roof highlights are done. Goodyear Hoosier, this is why I have the checklist. I would have totally forgotten. It doesn't even look like he has anything here. Hoosier. He was a Hoosier man. I knew he was, actually. And that Hoosier is, what was that? White. So I go find manufacturer. Get rid of Goodyear. And I got Hoosier here. And we'll change those to our go-to white right here. So Goodyear Hoosier is done. Quarter panel, old timer. They're both flipped, looked good. Now I'm just checking all the other ones are flipped as well, and they are. What was this? Front and rear numbers. Those are good. Hood dents. We haven't done that yet. I just did the manufacturer, which is Chevy and Lumina. Body line we haven't done yet because we got to color in the 3s to match that body line behind it. Spoiler brace, we don't have to worry about that because we're doing the spoiler. Side and roof numbers are both done, and then we got to add add the gradient to it. Shades and highlights here, and that's way too dark, so we'll go something like 50. And here we go, man. We are... Where are we at time-wise? 41 minutes? I mean, this will be under an hour. All right. I just dropped this into GIMP, which is basically... this program, it doesn't restrict you to these colors. You can use any color in here you want because it doesn't have an index color mode. Basically... GIMP, this file right here that I dropped this in, it has a rule that says, hey, you can't use any colors other than what's in this palette, Jack. Because I think I've shown this somewhere, but say I go and use a really bizarre bright green, like a green screen green, and I try to draw in here, they're like, no, man, we're finding the closest green to that. Suck it. I don't know why it... I don't know how it does that, but whatever, man. So the good news is sometimes, but you can see all the highlights we did because we used all the colors in game. There's a couple that bleed weird because of the other colors around it, but for the most part, it stays exact to how I just made it, and that was the whole goal. That's why I made that palette for my other program. And I could use this program for all this, but I'm just much faster and quicker in that. So you can see that. Remember that red outline we put around the Craftsman? Yeah. Like, come on. No. So now we're here. But now we got basically the shading here looks good down the car. We have shading going down the car. Yeah. You know, I just said that 3 times, but now I'm pumped up because I want to get this done within an hour. So now we got to start touching things up. First thing is I'm going to find that white that's on the white is tricky. I kind of eyeball on exactly what color is going to be darker. And why do I want to go darker? Because I need to kind of simulate the body lines from the hood going through the logo. And it's not an exact situation here. This one we'll be able to have some fun with. So that goes about here. And we'll do that. And that looks almost... That looks like too... This is where it gets tricky. So maybe just go lighter. Yeah. And not even stay... There you go. That is enough. Less is more when you do that on the front of the hood. Some of these are tricky as hell. And actually, after the speed run, I'll show you some of the schemes I've done. And look at this red. Get out of here. I changed this red, but it grabbed from the green. It did something, and it looks like balls now. And, I mean, it gets to the point where, I mean, you just can't sweat that stuff, man. People are going to be like, what is this bullshit? Like, no, I think it'll be fine. So now we're going to highlight the sides of the car, which I'll grab this white, which is down here, but I'm going to go brighter. And we want to find where the highlights of the car are and make them brighter. And this top right here should be like a black-white mix, so I'm not even going to mess with that. And, I mean, it looks silly now, but you zoom out and you're just like, oh, that does look brighter. So here, That's actually a little too bright. But here, I got to color in the tops of these letters. You don't want to go too crazy. You don't want to go every kind of white pixel you find, you should color. No. I just try to find the more solid ones, if that makes sense. So all the ones that just look solid, I'm changing to solid white. And this isn't an exact science at all. And what sucks is, because sometimes moving these into this program, into this GIMP file, I have to do this independently for both sides. I can't just do that once and move it up top, because sometimes just things are different on each side of the car, which I've never been able to figure out. But again, this is nothing. This is, again, when I'm doing this, I realize I'm in the home stretch, and this is great. I think I colored all the way to the top of the A on the other side for skull, but here it just doesn't feel right. And yeah, I'll miss some pixels, and that's usually intentional, because if you color these in, like I was just talking about, if you color all of these in, it looks silly. So yeah, I'll tell you what, the top of the 33 is actually too bright. So we're gonna darken this a little bit, or is that color? One more over. Yeah, it's a little bit darker. I'll take it. Again, I'll be able to sleep at night knowing that I eyeballed that and I was like, oh man, I should have made it darker. And actually, I think this was the color we used over here anyway. The fact that I'm still doing this and not seeing a change, but I'm still thinking there's a change. Anyway, while we have that white highlight, we'll go back here and just kind of eyeball what we should do back here. It wasn't an exact science on the sides, and it really isn't on back here. We just have to show a little bit of highlights. It's just enough to be like, oh. So you can, yeah. But now we got to color the top, which was darker. No, we need darker. This works. Again, when I'm doing this, I'm like, oh, this is pretty much the final thing I do. Doesn't look like there's a difference, but there's a difference. And then actually, yeah, the final thing we do is the body lines. Now I have that darker white, and I'll come here and I'll find where that body line is, and then I'll draw on the number. I gotta come back and grab the brighter white, which as a reference, I'm gonna drop this white and find a brighter one to use against it. There you go. It looks super bright. And you kind of eyeball this. I'm like, yeah, I probably should color that one in. Or should I? I don't know. Or if you're trying to win a contest, you could try to find a neutral color there. I'm grabbing that. And we'll grab that. And probably leave that other black one alone there. Or gray or whatever. So I'm going to save that, and then we're going to go back to our checklist. I did the side highlights, the tops of the skulls in the 33. Rear highlights, I did the bottom and the top of the skull. hood dents. We put little stuff into the skull logo, and we just did the body lines. We added the gradient, and we're done. Black. I can start. Get all that out of here. And then here I'll export to 9433, and then we go into the game. And what we got to do here is new driver, 9433, Harry Gant, and I've been intentionally spelling them wrong because I have so many cars right now in my folder that to tell these apart at a glance, I've just been intentionally spelling these wrong so I know which one these are. So here we go. Import paint. Yeah. Here we go. Anything look weird off the top? Just this green from the Bandit. I don't know. Just something funny happened there. And we may be able to... this is where some extra little touching up can happen. Where I have that green, and I'm like, why is all that bright green when it shouldn't be? Let's see if we can get rid of it. And there you go. I mean, that's... And then that Chevy logo pisses me off now. Bad. But I'm not worrying about it. So old timer, everything looks good. And actually that skull back here, the top of that could actually be darker, I think, a little bit. So I'm going to eyedrop this green around the hood, and now we go to the underbody shop where this is where we got to change some things that we couldn't mess with painting wise. So that green I just eyedropped, you'll see this blue down here near the front change to match the rest of that color. And then there's more things to change here. Like our white, for example, you're gonna see the car start becoming the car. And I mean that body line right here is unfortunate. There are some better body mods that people have made. Pavel made one that just look better, but I've been using the base one. The hood, the back was white, yeah, and then I'm gonna color before we get to the back. Basically, if you've been watching some of these races, you'll notice if a car's details, like we can't tell who a car is yet, you'll just see like basically the underbody colors of it. So you do want to kind of accurately portray the car in this. So we have a white kind of front with green, yeah, but then we want a green everything here. Green hood and everything, green sides, but then a white top. Everything here is all white. But let's go grab this green. We got to color this green. And then we need the spoiler, which is always light and dark. This one's got to be lighter. And then the next color down is the back. And this is a black spoiler, which I was talking about earlier. You can see that's going to match up with the spoiler we put in there. If that was going to be a green spoiler, I would have turned off that spoiler brace and just had like a darker green thing here to show that spoiler brace was there, but just a different color. Hey man, that's it. You can also do, I'm going to save that, but you can also go to their suit shop, which I haven't done any of these yet. But save. If I forgot anything, I will touch it up. And there you go. The car is done. Or no, I forgot the back. Hang on. This is all green back here. And there's a shading school of thought for me here where I want to grab this green so we see where that green is, but I want this one to be brighter and then this one to be darker. So it gives it some depth, you know. I'm glad I remembered that. Trust me, I would have noticed that. But that's it. Done. I'll show you all the other cars I've made here. But see all this bullshit I've done. But I got to bring Harry Gant over into 1994. Here we go. Rick Matt. I mean, this was. I've done whatever that number was. 24, 25 cars. Rick Mast. I mean, that is what it is. This one sucked because I had to. It's not perfect. None of these are perfect. This one blows, but that's just how it looks. That's the best way to portray it in the game. I don't know if I got this color exactly right. Just the way this green was set up, it's hard to find good highlight colors for it. But you'll forgive me. Greg Sachs, this was actually pretty easy because I had a white base that I was using and it was nothing. Todd Bodine. This one was actually one of the trickier ones because you remember how I had to bring that white, like our whole Harry Gant car was green, but then I had to bring in that white from the Loy Allen. I had to do that mask thing, so it only showed up here. For this one, I needed to make a red for this one. I needed to make a white to cover these the body lines here, which I could just do by eye afterward, which I've realized, so I'll skip that sometimes. But I had to make this red, had to keep this blue. There were just a lot of layers to this one. And you can see on the hood, as far as, I made some things darker here to show the hood lines and stuff, but less is more. This is pretty nothing. Oh, I forgot something on the Harry Gant car. The hood, the cowl thing. Morgan Shepherd. Yeah. Hutch Strickland, the camel car. Again, less is more on those things on the front. I don't even think I messed with it over here. But I made just a little bit of something there. You can see I made the purple brighter with the highlight here, darker up top. Stuff like that. That's supposed to be a camel right here. It just gets lost in translation. Save change. Anytime you zoom, it asks you if you want to change your shit. Mark Martin. Ricky Rudd, which I think I got to redo. This I messed up the orange coloring on this. I got to mess with that again. Jeff Bodine, you can't use gradients. You're not allowed to use gradients, and this is supposed to be a pink to blue gradient with purple in the middle. So I just kind of got artistic with it. And the front, you can see I just touched it up very slightly. We're not saving that. Bill Elliott, what I originally, the one thing I started, I made a video about the Bill Elliott car here, and I could always touch this up. See how all this is like this? And you can just, it's easy to do this in game because any color you eye drop is going to be over here. Case closed. It doesn't matter. And I think I drew a black there for some reason. What happened there? There's all these like spurious inputs sometimes that I'm glad I check. So for example, if I wanted to fix that, there you go, I just fixed that. But now there's gold down there. I don't know. So I'm going to save that and I'll eventually have to go through these and do a hard target look at these. Hooters, I didn't even bother with putting the hood line through the owl and stuff. Not worth it. But you can see I made the body lines through the 1 and the 9 there. Repo9's Quaker State car. This one was tricky. And I think I mentioned the quarter panels and stuff, like how I'm glad we didn't have to worry about it. Because look at the quarter panels on these. That, yeah, if you want to bleed something where it should be on the back of the car, and there's like a design that goes from the top to the bottom, like the gas tank to the bottom of the quarter panel, it's not going to line up because there's this underbody color right here that always will always get in the way and interrupt it. So I've kind of learned just to get over it. This one ended up looking pretty good. But that's Rusty Wallace's car, folks. Derek Cope. This one, I don't know. It is what it is. I think it looks decent. Jeremy Mayfield's Finger Hut car. This was supposed to be a different color pink, but you're limited to what they give you, and whatever color I used here was like in that spectrum there. But that actually looks pretty good on the track. Jimmy Spencer, Blue Oval Hero in the comments helped me out with this one. Threw me some logos to use. But what sucks is that he's just doing it blind because he'll send something to me, but I've been working on these enough that I know, oh man, I'm gonna have to do this. I'm gonna have to make this bigger. I'm gonna have to squeeze this to fit it into here, and eyeballing this looks like garbage down here. This yellow right here, I would want to eyedrop it and find just a darker yellow. There you go. And then make it go an even darker yellow and do that. And then pulling out, that looks better. So then while I'm here, I'm going to grab these other ones. So there you go. And then, but that's not even done. I might have to come back and fix something else whenever I look at these. I don't know. So that's that. This ended up looking pretty. This is one of the more recent ones I've done after I've really learned the how to get these looking good. And this I think this one looks pretty good. And then that was the final Ford I did. And then I moved into the Chevys, which just have they have a different hood. If you look at the hood on the Chevy here, where it cuts off before the grill, and then if you go back to the Ford, the hood like dips under the Ford and stuff. So the templates all are different a little bit. The Kodak car is done. I didn't mess with the body line through the gold film. It just seemed like an extra headache. And you can see the quarter panel here. Again, it just sucks that I might just go in and take off that black, because it looks silly that black is even hanging out above that underbody color. So, or what did we forget here? Terry Labonte. This was another good one I made. Nothing wild here, I don't think. Just very meticulous stuff. This is Johnny Andretti. Nothing wild there. And then Harry Gant, what we just made. But what I wanted to do that I screamed about was the cowl. We got to show some kind of shading here. And this is why I reserve that. This is why I don't use this pitch black until I have to. So if we can, we're gonna do that. And probably could see what I mean. Like that that buys it there. I could change. See that yellow here? I don't know where these pop up. I think I just a random mouse press by accident somewhere. So yeah, that gives it that extra little zing. But I got to make sure to change this to Chevy. There you go. And then let's go check these out on the track. Atlanta. I'm recording this actually after Phoenix and before the Atlanta finale. And then we'll accelerate time. And the cool thing, Enter 2003, you accelerate time and you don't see any of the action that happened. But here you accelerate time and however long the replay system allows, you can go back and watch all of it. So this should take us back to the beginning of the race, and it did. But then we'll skip forward. These are all, these ratings aren't exact at all. There's Harry Gant, look at him. Where are we at right here? Okay, we're at the tail end, so that's Brett Bodine's looking good. Rusty Wall, every time I look at these cars, that Rusty Wallace car just looks good on the track. I don't know what. That was Todd Bodine up there. This is Brett Bodine in the Quaker State. Loy Allen. Yeah, the orange looks weird. I got to redo that Tide car. Ernie Irvin. The Ted Musgrave car, again, looks pretty good on the track. Hutch Strickland there in the Camel. Jeff Bodine. Like, you get it with the gradient. Like, Jimmy Spencer, Morgan Shepherd, Jeff Burton's car. That's as good as that's going to look with that red outline that they have on the car. Greg Sachs, Derek Cope, Mark Martin, John Andretti. I actually didn't look at this on the track yet. And what am I going to say? It looks fine. Sterling Marlin. I was up in the air about it. I was like how I debated the green on the Harry Gant car. That's how I was really. There was two different yellows to use for the Kodak car. And then Terry Labonte's car ended up looking good. Earnhardt, Bodine. You can see those white things on the, or not Bodine, Lake Speed. You can see those white things on the front. That's just how the car looked. I probably could bring those closer to the Ford. I don't know. Jeremy Mayfield, Harry Gant. That green looks good. I think we made the right call on that green. The forest, the darker kind of green would have been rough, I think. And then Mike Wallace there. So that's done. And all flim flam and actually stopping and explaining a few things. I think this took around an hour. I can get these done in about an hour and 15 minutes, depending. Sometimes when I'm watching that Pontiac, those YouTubes, I'll stop and be like, "Hey, I need the back of this car for that next car I'm painting." So I got to stop and screenshot that and all these things. But for the most part, these really aren't taking that long, especially because I have a lot of the assets on my computer somewhere. So, and I painted a. Let's go look at the front numbers here. You see, remember how I mentioned how small they are and that they're like up on the hood? That's the best way to do these because another pixel down, it gets cut off. It doesn't look that way because I'm hiding it with that underbody color matching the body itself. But one pixel further down in the bottom of the number, who's smoking here? Derek Cope. So those numbers look good. Like, you get it. I probably can move that 4 over a little bit. The 5 looks like shit. I wanted to fix that. There's no way to fix that. The 3. So that's how that works. But yeah, I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, I once upon a time I painted a 1997 car set for Enter 2003 at like 2048 by 2048 dimensions on a template. So I have a lot of the assets from the mid-90s for these cars, so that's helping things out tremendously. Like the Heilig Myers stuff I had from a Dick Trickle car from the 1997 season. So that's all, man. Hey, no, I'll probably be posting this after the Atlanta race. So maybe I won the championship. I don't know. After Phoenix, I don't know, but probably not. All right, hey, thanks for watching. I'll have more videos coming soon. We're taking a trip through the 90s internet. That'll be fun. All right, thanks for watching.